So we're down here today at Callaway's European Performance Centre. We're here with custom fit specialist Matt Judd. We're going to be taking a look at the new Apex irons for 2021. Okay, so as I said, we're joined here today by custom fit specialist Matt Judd. Thanks for joining us, Matt. And we're here to look at the new Apex irons for 2021, which is very exciting. So tell us what we need to know about these beautiful irons, Matt.
Yeah, so Apex, we've always considered Apex to be the pinnacle of our iron design. The forged, the feel, the feedback, the sound, everything about that just screams quality.
Yeah.
And it's also been the forefront of our tech. So when we look at our irons, we've always introduced a lot of our sort of groundbreaking technology into the Apex lineup. Again, when we use multiple materials, we're able to play around with ball speed and with forgiveness and with launch characteristics a lot easier. And Apex 21, I think we've really sort of thrown the book at this one and looked and gone, right, how do we really make a good product excellent? And the technology that's in these is superb.
And it's not an easy job to do because Apex 19, it's a phenomenally good golf club.
Yeah, but you look at the tour players, they're some of the best in the world. Yet they always go and practice, they always go and look for that, what can take them to that next level. And I think for us with Apex, it is a great performing golf club, and Apex 19 works, it's superb. But Apex 21 is just going to give us that little bit extra. One of the key things we've done with Apex is, Apex has always been maybe aimed at good players or high single figure or low teens. It's quite an aspirational golf club and everything. So yes, it looks good and yes, it performs, but some of the maybe higher handicappers are sort of, well, maybe not. Maybe that's too good for us. So one of the great things for 21 we're going to be doing is we're introducing, as well as Apex Pro, as well as Apex, we're introducing Apex DCB.
Okay.
And DCB just stands for deep cavity back. So you're going to have all of the features and benefits of the good players golf club, but in a slightly larger head shape. So it's going to give you more confidence, but also more stability, more forgiveness, and a little bit easier to launch.
So I guess that's giving those golfers who maybe wouldn't have ever been able to put an Apex in the bag. Yeah, it's going to give those guys an option, right?
It really is. Yeah, it's going to introduce a whole new range of golfers to the Apex family. Let's say aspirational golfers, players that want to get better, and they want to use the product that's going to help them to get better, but also when they get better, they can still use that. And for me, the DCB is a really strong introduction into that Apex family, giving them forgiveness, energy transfer, ball speed, but in a good looking package. And it's not, we talk about the technology, face design. The AI computer has been able to be let loose on the irons, and all three of the iron heads have different face designs, again, aiming at sort of slightly different player profiles, but meaning we can maximize the ball speed potential wherever a player strikes it on all three of the different club head styles. The other benefit we're seeing here is, obviously with Apex, we're like I said, we're throwing the book at it, we're throwing all the technology we can into this one, and you have tungsten. Okay, so you've got carbon steel, but also we're introducing the tungsten into the club head again, and tungsten's that very heavy metal, which allows us to position weight where it's needed. So, for example, in the longer irons, we've got more tungsten lower down
to help get the ball in the air.
That's it. So get the ball up into the air, help it carry a bit further. But as you go through the set, you start looking at your 6 iron, your 7 iron, that tungsten gets a little bit smaller and gets in a slightly different position. So then when we get to your pitching wedge and your A wedge, there's no tungsten. Right. Again, because we're not trying to hit that ball high, loft will get that ball up in the air. We're then able to help control the ball flight. So you're getting that technology aspect as well as a good looking package. And again, when you do the technology we put into it, so you do the face separately to the body, then you have a sound and maybe a feel issue that comes into play. But again, like we saw with Big Bertha 21, we're introducing the microspheres, the urethane microspheres into this club head to help with energy transfer, but also with help with the sound and with the feel. When you make a big club head, when you put bits of space in it so you don't get the sound maybe you really want. This does.
Right.
So again, you've got ease of use, but also sounds great as well as looks good.
And again, this has all been driven by AI.
Absolutely. You know, we discussed it earlier when we talked about other products. AI, before we looked at it in driver. Now we've invested more in the supercomputer. We've got more computing power. That can now be let loose on other aspects. And now we're looking at irons. You know, again, we know we can make a good iron. How do we make a good iron better?
So talk to us about the Apex, the middle.
Yeah, so obviously DCB, larger footprint, larger club head. Apex kind of sits in between DCB and Pro, but again, you're looking at a club head that slightly thinner top edge, maybe not as long from front to back, so heel to toe, but still chock full of the microspheres, the tungsten weighting, and the flash face designed to maximize that energy transfer. But again, in a slightly more smaller, maybe slightly more pleasing to the eye sort of look.
Yeah.
And that leads us on to the Pro head, which, as the name suggests, you know, is aimed at the better player. But again, it's a Callaway product, so it's going to have some forgiveness. It's going to have some ease of use. And because we're able to utilize tungsten again in this golf club, we're able to put that heavier weight in the head where it's going to help the player.
Right.
Okay? A little bit more workable, slightly shorter blade length. So again, for that sort of player that wants to be able to shape a ball, wants to be able to put it into that back right pin placement over the bunker, easier to manipulate, easier to move, a little bit easier to control the ball flight as well.
And in terms of the improvements that a golfer's going to see out on the golf course, how are these going to help their game?
Yeah, so we're going to see a little bit more energy transfer. So you're going to get a bit more distance potential, which is, none of us are unhappy when we hear that. No. But certainly, again, what we're going to see is for those players that don't necessarily catch that centre, or don't catch it right where they want to catch it.
That'll be me.
Unfortunately, that'll be quite a few of us.
Yep.
What they're going to see is, or what they're not going to see is probably a better description, they're not going to suddenly see them pull up short. Right. They're not going to see themselves drop into that bunker at the front of the green because they didn't quite catch it like they wanted to. So the forgiveness is going to be there, the flight is going to be there, even if they don't quite get it how they want to.
Right, so it's going to make bad shots better.
That's it, nature of the game. If we can make the bad shot less destructive, you're going to score better.
Absolutely. And one of the things we were talking about earlier actually is how we think people are perhaps going to go and buy these clubs. So they're not going to buy a traditional set of one of those irons perhaps, are they?
No, I think going in and, you know, first of all, you get attracted by the look of the golf club. Yeah. Absolutely. But to be fitted is the key for us here. And the great thing about the Apex line for 2021 is that we're going to be able to do mixed sets. So a player will be able to go in and go, well, okay, I need a bit more help with my longer irons, but the DCB maybe looks a little bit bigger for me down at the bottom end. So you're able to then mix and match as such, but you're able to have a DCB and an Apex as a blended set, or a DCB and an Apex and maybe even Apex Pro round at the
right, so you think people might even have all three across the set?
There is potential for that.
Right.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, we'll be bringing in to our build department appropriate heads to be able to sort of satisfy that for players that want to be able to have that real blend set.
So custom fitting's the key, isn't it?
As I say with any of the modern golf clubs, you need to be fitted. You need to see what's going to benefit you the best.
Yeah, and that's how you're going to really find the best setup for you, and but also most importantly, get the most out of it on the golf course, isn't it? But make sure you've got the right set of golf clubs for your game.
Of course, the proof is in the scores.
Yeah. You
know, if you get fitted correctly and you get the right product for your game, your scores are going to come down.
Brilliant. Well, it's been fascinating chatting with you today, Matt. It's been really interesting looking at this new product for 2021. I think golfers are going to love getting these in their hands and trying them. So we look forward to fitting these ourselves at our venues. So guys, hope you've enjoyed that video today. I hope you found it interesting. If you do want to try these products, make sure you head into our one of our professional shops. The guys there will help you get set up with what is right for you. They will do a full custom fitting with you and get you out on the golf course with the right clubs for your game. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and we'll speak to you again soon.